A completely disappointing, underwhelming and very amateurish transfer window from West Ham United was summed up by Dean in the live chat on our transfer deadline day show over on the main channel, Hammers Chat channel, just last night. And, I mean, best of intentions doing a transfer deadline day show. Why would we do one? Well, the reason being was so as we could communicate with you fine and lovely people and discuss the comings and goings at West Ham during the final 3 hours of transfer deadline day. And you've got to laugh, the comings and goings. I mean, it's just goings, isn't it? Let's be fair. There's no comings. Well, if you pardon the expression, it's just goings. Basically, who's leaving West Ham? That's what the window is. But anyway, as we got to the end of the show, Dean posted up the comments from the club when they tried to justify the sale of Grady Diangana, because everyone was rightly aggrieved at the sale. So they thought, we'll try and do a patch-up job here, we'll release a statement. And in the statement, they more or less said the proceeds from the sale of Grady Diangana, 100% of the proceeds will be reinvested into the first team squad and given to David Moyes to strengthen. Words to that effect, more or less that. They weren't, and they haven't. And I think this really plays into what I want to talk about today, which is just such a terrible, terrible transfer window, and why these people mustn't be let off the hook. Why a couple of wins, a couple of very good wins, mustn't let the owners off the hook. If David Moyes goes on to be a successful manager, and when I say successful, gets us to mid-table and we carry on getting some wins in the Premier League and we don't flirt with relegation, we mustn't allow that to let the owners off the hook on this one. We've got to keep pressing it home. I say we've got to. I certainly want to. You obviously make up your own decisions. It seems to me like we sold Grady Diangana for no reason whatsoever. As it stands right now, we've brought in Safal. Now, he looks a good player. We'll talk about him more later on in the week. However, we've paid £5 million for this bloke. When we, as West Ham, are constantly trying to justify we don't have any money, we will say things like, oh, we still owe money for Felipe Anderson. We still owe money for Sebastian Haller. You've all heard the type of thing before. Why is that? Because generally you will pay the transfer over the term of the contract. Now, if Safal has signed for 4 years, as I understand it, and cost £5 million, well, basically we're paying £1.25 million a year. So let's be fair, it's hardly dented our transfer kitty, has it? I would imagine our first payment was basically what we got for a jetty. We've also sold Jordan Hugill. We've sold Josh Cullen. And we've let Xande Silva go on loan as well as Felipe Anderson. We'll get to those all individually in a minute. But my point is, we've not even touched what we're meant to have got for Grady Diangana. And when everybody kicked up a fuss, because we all thought it was rather low. We all thought 18 million, that's rather low. We were told, oh no, because initially we thought it might have been 12. No, it's not 12, it's 18 million, plus lots of add-ons, lots of money up front. It's a good deal. That's what they told us. That's their story. And I think, whilst it was disappointing, if you look at the team and you look at the fact that Grady Diangana might not have got in the team at the moment because we're not really playing with a left winger, if that money, that 18 million, plus the Hugo money, plus the Ajeti money, or whatever, this rumoured £30 million that we were supposed to have, which do we? We might have it, but it doesn't look like we're going to spend it. Unless it's a championship player. Well, the whole point was that we sell Grady Diangana and we strengthen somewhere else in the team, but we haven't. And I probably would have let that go. If Diangana had gone and we brought in an England international at centre-half or whatever, you'd think, OK, fair enough, it's improved the team. Well, we've just weakened the squad. And weakened the squad considerably, by the way. The Cullen business is amazing. I mean, it's just amazingly poor. I thought he'd had a very good pre-season. I thought he looked very good in the first cup game. Was it Charlton? I think it was Charlton. Well, he looked really good, arguably man of the match. Seems to pass and move really well. He's a really good age. I don't know how many professional games of first team football he's played, but he's been on loan so many times. He must have played 100 games of professional football. He's ready to go. Anderlecht certainly thinks so. Why wasn't he retained? Why wasn't he kept in the squad? Now, don't get me wrong. I think that David Moyes didn't fancy him. I do think that. I think just in the same way that David Moyes didn't fancy Jack Wislhere, I think he's not his type of player. Okay, well, that's fine, but look at how we've left ourselves. We have left ourselves with a massively unbalanced squad, whereby you are absolutely dumping yourself, if you pardon the expression, at the prospect of losing either Declan Rice or Thomas Souček. Now, both those players, I praise the fact that we brought Souček in, and I praise the fact that we haven't sold Declan Rice. But I think there's a little bit too much praise that we haven't sold Declan Rice, because I'm not totally convinced the bid came in. I'm really not. I don't think that Chelsea came in with 70 million on the final day and we said, no, we're not selling them any costs. In fact, I'll go as far as to say I don't think there's been a single bid for Declan Rice in this whole window. No reflection on Rice. He's a very, very good player. We're lucky to have him, and I'm glad he's with us, at least for the time being. But again, it just, regardless whether Moyes wanted him or I'm talking about Cullen now, or didn't want him, we keep losing players. We're hemorrhaging players. And I do know there will be a lot of people who say the board are asset stripping. I don't think they're asset stripping, because I don't think they're. I think they're selling Grady Diangana for 18 million, then taking the money and I'll have some of that and put that in my pocket. I don't think that's what's happening here. I just think what they're doing is they're trying to tighten their belts and they're cost cutting at West Ham to just a ridiculous extent. And I think we've been embarrassed. I think the business that Aston Villa have done has embarrassed us. I would have loved Matty Cash. I think David Moyes would have loved Matty Cash, by the way. I would have loved Ross Barkley. And I said it on these videos beforehand. It was no surprise to see him go and perform as he did do. Why weren't we in for him? We didn't even try, as far as I know. I think we've been completely embarrassed by Everton on numerous positions, by the way. Not that I think that we could have gone and got James Rodriguez. He wouldn't have come to us, and David Moyes wouldn't have wanted him anyway. But we could have got the centre-back from Norwich, right? I mean, Newcastle have embarrassed us. I think Jamal Lewis would have been an absolutely fantastic acquisition for us. 15 million? Why couldn't we afford 15 million? Where is this money gone? And I've listed 3 clubs there. They're not on their own. In fact, the more you look at it, because Fulham have done business as well, Sheffield United have done business, West Brom, painfully, as we know, have done business. Why are we so far down the table in terms, I don't mean the Premier League table, I mean the spending table, the spending charts. We hear about the coronavirus and COVID-19, and as I said on the transfer show last night, if it was everybody, if everybody was saying the same thing, then I would say, okay, fair enough. There's been no season tickets. There's been no people going through the turnstiles. Why has it only affected us? Why have Aston Villa been out to spend? Why have Newcastle? Newcastle, of all clubs, Newcastle United, whose owner doesn't want to put any money in, whose owner wants to sell it, who's actually said any money that Newcastle spend, they have to generate themselves. How can they generate their own money and buy good players? How can they buy Callum Wilson? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. They signed up Ryan Fraser on a free, 100 grand a week or whatever. As I say, bought Jamal Lewis. Where's our signings? And I do find it incredibly frustrating. And there are always going to be the naysayers. There will always be those who say, what are you complaining about? We're doing one in the league. Well, I am. I am pleased that we're doing one in the league. But I think you've got to separate it, because I think David Moyes is doing a good job in spite of what the board are doing. Not because they're doing a good job. You can't keep losing players. I mean, what about that? What about with Silva going? I don't think so. I'm not even sure Silva was that good. That's fine. But who comes in? Who comes in now? Have we got Sebastian Haller? There's no one. No one to play up front. You've got the Championship now. The Championship is open, what, for a further 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. So we're now shopping round in the Championship. I'm not entirely sure we're shopping. I mean, we might have picked up the trolley and we put the pound in. Actually, we wouldn't put the pound in, would we? We'd probably try to de-chain it by using a coat hanger or something. But we're pushing it around the car park with no intention of going shopping. We're just trying to look like we're going shopping. And it makes you wonder what Sullivan's up to. I don't think he'd have done it. I think had we have not won those last 2 games in the Premier League, I think Sullivan might have been forced to buy somebody. You can see that in the comment about Diangana. The comment about Diangana is backtracking. It was a case of, let's sell Diangana. Massive uproar from the fans. And then a bit of squeaky bum time from the club who were saying, oh, hold on a second, we better justify this. Oh, no, we didn't mean to sell him. You know, it's all fine. We're going to reinvest it in the squad. Whenever they get a little bit of grief, they tend to respond. But I think all that's happened now is we've got a couple of wins, and Sullivan's, and a lot of people will believe this, Sullivan's thought, actually, we don't need to buy anyone. I mean, what a terrible thing to do to the squad. What a terrible thing to do to your manager, to not give him the tools to do his job. But what does that tell you about the thinking of David Sullivan, that his mindset can change so quickly after a couple of days? He was going to buy someone, now I don't think I'll bother. That's not someone with a clear purpose of mind. That's not someone with a clear direction, a clear thought. That's someone who's just willing to change his mind on a daily basis to whatever suits him best financially. And I'm not in many respects, I'm not disappointed because there was some brilliant player that I wanted and that we didn't get. I don't care whether we got Tarkowski. I don't care whether it was the Marseille centre-back. I honestly didn't care. I just wanted us to show some ambition. I just wanted us to show that we had some ambition. We wanted to go and get someone, that we were serious players in the market, that we were backing our manager. The fact that we might have seen, actually, we had a good finish to last season. We've had a good start to this season. Or whatever. You know what I'm saying. Bearing in mind the tough fixture list. Okay, we're going to push on a little bit. We might not spend as much as Aston Villa or Everton or whatever, but you know what? We're going to spend our 30 million. But no, it just seems like there's any excuse not to spend it. I feel sorry for Josh Cullen. I really do. But that's for different reasons. I think the manager's got his part to play. And I back Moyes and I support Moyes. And I think he's got to work in bad circumstances. But I do think that one's on him. Felipe Anderson's gone. A parting shot. Well, I think Felipe Anderson should have done more. Him saying he'll only come back and play under a different coach. Well, will you now, mate? Do you know what I mean? I don't think you were that good to start dictating who you're going to play for, by the way. Jack Wilshere's gone. The payoff was bizarre. Basically, all Jack's contract would have been paid £15 million. Now we don't have him for the rest of the season, and he gets £14 million. What is the benefit of that? Again, it's some little cost-cutting exercise. We just keep saving on wages, At what point are we going to see this money? At what point is this tightening of the belt going to be of benefit to West Ham? And why are we having to do it, yet nobody else is? And I think that is the real question. Because they're singing exactly the same song, the board at the moment, that they were singing when they first took over the club. And that is that we've got a lopsided squad and we're in debt and we can't afford it. Well, what have you been doing? What have you been doing for the last 10 years that we find ourselves in this situation? What has gone so drastically wrong? You can't blame it all on the coronavirus. And as I say, I am agitated by it, but I'm not. It's weird. It's not because I'm agitated because I think there was this one player I want to be missed out on him. I'm just agitated at the overall incompetence of the club in this situation. And there's part of me wants to believe that it is incompetence, an inability to get a deal over the line, an inability to do the job, Sullivan being worse than all the other 19 Premier League chairmen who seem to be able to buy players. There's part of me that wants to believe that. But there's another part of me that strongly believes that West Ham United have no desire to sign anyone at all.